Welcome to the Light of Sirio podcast. My name is Dori Fari and I will speak with a realized spiritual master about his views on life and the topic of spirituality.
Hazur Maharaj Sant Ji, you're my Sadgurus, I bow down to you. Hazur Maharaj Sant Ji, you're my Sadgurus, I love you. Hazur Maharaj Sant Ji, you're my Sadgurus, I adore you.
So now we are at the third episode of season 3 and here is with me Master Sirio, as always, in our small studio. Welcome, dear Master. In the previous 2 episodes, we could listen to you about how you heard about Sant Ajaib, how you set on a new spiritual adventure going to India, meeting Sant Ajaib Singh for the first time, participating even in 3 programs with him during your stay in India, and how eventually everything was a beautiful happy end, how you found in him your living master, the new form of your master, and then eventually how you went back to Italy. But there was something which I wanted to ask, because you told us about how you heard about Sant Ajaib Singh, that there was an article about him and photographs of him in the Sant Ji magazine, that Russel Perkins started a new magazine called the Sant Ji magazine. But how Russel heard about Sant Ji, how it was revealed to him or other satsangis who found him, because you said that you went to see Sant Ji in 1977, so it was quite in the beginning of his mission, so very few people from the West were going to him at the time. How did they hear about him? Because as you described him, he was like almost like a hermit of the Thar desert of Rajasthan. So how satsangis heard about this holy person?
The first one who ever spoke this name, Ajaib Singh, he was Aaron Stephens. Aaron Stephens was the Master Kripal's representative in Canada. So when Master Kripal died, Aaron Stephens, Russel Perkins, and many others went to India for the funerals. Some arrived before the cremation, some arrived after the cremation, which in India it happens just sometimes the very day that the person dies or the day after. They don't wait much. So some people arrived for the cremation, some people arrived after, but anyway, there were many people there at the ashram. Many Indians, of course, thousands of them, quite a number of Westerners, most of the so-called main staff of Master Kripal from the West was there. At some point, somebody told Aaron Stephens that a certain Ajaib Singh from Rajasthan had been there at the ashram, in Savan ashram. But then he was taken away. There was a rumor that his life was in danger somehow. Taiji, who was the lady living with Master Kirpal and who knew Ajaib Singh, told him that he better goes back to Rajasthan because there were some fanatic followers of Master Kirpal who were very much in support of Darshan Singh, that is the son of Master Kirpal, to take up the role of successor of Master Kirpal, who didn't like this Ajaib Singh because he was known in the Sanghas to be kind of a guru. Taiji advised him to go back to Rajasthan and not stay in Savanashram. Anyway, this person told Aaron Stephens this story and then told him that Ajaib Singh was a very special satsang of Master Kirpal and he was kind of a holy man. So Aaron Stephens decided to go to see this Ajaib Singh. So he was the very first person who took the trip to go from Delhi to Rajasthan to meet Ajaib Singh. He went to see him, and when he came back to Delhi and then eventually to Canada, he decided to write an article of his trip to Rajasthan. That was the very first time that I heard anything about this Ajaib Singh. He wrote an article called A Hope, which was printed, I think, in September, Satsang, and everybody could read it. So I also read it. Then, well, I forgot about it. The beginning seemed something charming, something special, because he was describing this trip which he took to Rajasthan and how he met Ajaib Singh and the impression that he had of Ajaib Singh. So it seemed to give some hope of somebody, some possible person to take up the role of the master. But then time passed by, I forgot, I was involved in the situation which was happening around me in Italy, and I forgot about this story. Then, as I said, Takar Singh was announced to be a master in Savanashram, so I went to see him. And while I was there, I became close with a satsangi from Ecuador. And he told me that in March, it means just sometime before I went to India, Russel Perkins had been in Savanashram, and he had said that he had gone to Rajasthan to see Ajaib Singh and that he liked him very much, that he understands him to be a very holy man. So that's the second time I heard anything about Ajaib Singh. But then my trip was meant to come to know Takar Singh. So eventually, as I've been saying already, disappointed, I came back home. And time went by. And then I got that magazine from Russel Perkins from Sambani Ashram in New Hampshire. I've already said how things went on. But how Russel Perkins came to know about Ajaib Singh, that's the point now. There was a satsangi of Master Kirpal from Colombia who was a doctor, a radiologist called Doctor Molina. And he came on the path, he took initiation, and he really took the path very serious. He was kind of a holy man himself. So at some point, he was meditating some 5 or 6 hours per day. He began having revelations of several things happened to him inside. The master was talking to him and telling him things.
But was it happening after the passing away of Master Kirpal already?
Oh, yes. After, yes. At some point, he began hearing a song inside. They came in all possible languages, singing. Just this. A man has been born, Ajaib, 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 in all possible languages, in Spanish, in Italian, in English, in Chinese, in Sanskrit, in Hindi, in all possible languages.
At that point, is it possible that he already heard about Sant Ji?
No, he didn't know anything about it.
So it just came to him a revelation inside.
Yes.
A man has been born Ajaib.
So how Russel Perkins came to know about this? Because near Sambani Ashram there was one of the daughters of Doctor Molina who had gotten married to an American satsangi, and they were living just very near to Sambani Ashram. Mm-hmm. So when he began having this revelation, this Doctor Molina, he began writing letters to his daughter, telling her, look, this is happening to me. Master has been very gracious to me and he has revealed to me this thing. So Russel Perkins already knew about Ajaib Singh, of course, because he was the editor of Satsang. And when Aaron Stephens, with whom he was a friend, wrote that article, of course, Russel Perkins came to know about it. And for him, it was just as the title was titled, it was a hope. Then Dr. Molina began having these experiences. He came to know from the daughter of Dr. Molina. Then, in January 1976, Russel Perkins had a vision of Master Kirpal who told him, now it's time to go find out this Ajaib Singh. He called Aaron Stephens, Russel called Aaron, and asked him advice of how to do it, because he had already been there. So how to manage to find this Ajaib Singh, and if he spoke English or he didn't. Actually, Ajaib Singh didn't speak English. So he had to find a translator, somebody. So Aaron advised him to go to Delhi and visit the Baga family, because he was married with an Indian girl, an Indian lady, who was part of this Baga family. So he said, look, now in India there is a cousin of my wife who speaks, of course, Punjabi, Hindi, and he speaks very good English also, because he lives in America. Now he's just on holidays in Delhi. So you go see him, ask if he wants to accompany you to see Ajaib Singh. Russel Perkins went to India, he went to Delhi, he went to see this Baga family. Kulwant Baga was there, asked him if he wanted to accompany him to see Ajaib Singh. Kulwant agreed, so together they went to see Ajaib Singh. And also Linda, the wife of Kulwant, who was Canadian, joined in, so the three of them went to Rajasthan to see Ajaib Singh. For Russel Perkins, the meeting was very meaningful. He right away saw Ajaib Singh's body turning into the body of Master Kirpal. Those 5 hours which he spent in the company of Ajaib Singh at that time, they were so meaningful that were enough to convince him that Ajaib Singh was actually, let's say, successor or Master Kirpal in his new form for him. So he right away accepted him as Master successor, and after these 5 hours, he went back to Delhi, and then he went to Savanashram, where he met Takar Singh also, but to him Takar Singh was just a very good man and nothing else, nothing more, because the experience which he had with Ajaib Singh was so much more meaningful and more profound. So eventually he went back to America and he started publishing this magazine. He concentrated his efforts now in making Ajaib Singh known to the initiates of Master Kirpal in America and in the West. Then he published his magazine, and many people, including me, came to know about Ajaib Singh and the fact that he had taken up already the role of a master, and that people were already beginning to go see him, and his work with us, Westerners, disciples of Master Kirpal, had started. So that's it. in India in 1977. As I said, I went back to Rajasthan on 2 occasions. And on the first occasion, there was Doctor Molina. Mm-hmm. So one evening when we were in Rajasthan, Sant Ji asked Doctor Molina to tell to all of us this experience which he had, how it began and how it happened, how he got this revelation from inside about Ajaib Singh being the new master. So he told this story. I had already read about this story, which was published in the first issue of the magazine, Sambani magazine, which I received. So I had already read the whole story there. But then it was very nice to be in India when Dr. Molina himself verbally told all of us this story, how it went for him.
Well, and it was still rather fresh then.
Yes, it just happened some couple of years. It had started some couple of years before, and it was still going on. And then at the end he said that this is the song I was hearing inside all the time. So he began singing it like this in Spanish. Ha nacido un hombre, ha nacido un hombre, Ajaib, Ajaib, Ajaib. And he said, like this, it came in all possible languages. So it went on days and nights, he said. For quite some time, it was always in my head, this song.
Well, it's an incredible story, very impressive, really. It's like a miracle somehow.
Well, more than a miracle. So these were all miracles that were happening. This is the story. Then the next month, interesting enough, Russel Perkins was in the group. So I could talk with him also.
Yes, so you met all the most important characters.
Yes.
Dr. Molina and Russel Perkins.
So I could talk with him, and he also told me his own part of the story, how it went for him. And I was surprised when I came to know that the first time he went to see Ajaib Singh, he was in the ashram only for 5 hours. She said 5 hours, and in these 5 hours, then you started all this story.
Yes, actually, I was also wondering, wow, he went from Delhi to Rajasthan to be 5 hours with Sant Ji, and then he went away. So it has been really very meaningful for him.
So you see, when I say that for a master it's very important to have the good stuff that works for him. So Sant Ji was very lucky because he got these very 2 good, excellent people like Dr. Molina, who spread his name in Colombia. And in Colombia there was the biggest Sangha of Sant Ji. Mm-hmm. Because he started, the first time he went, maybe there were 1,000 people. But by the end, I think the last program he gave in Colombia, there were maybe 6,000 people. And Russel Perkins spread his name in North America. So there also, the beginning when he went, there were some few hundred people.
Well,
but by the end,
he started the Sambani magazine for him, and
yes,
he began to give news all around the world.
And he invited him to go to America. And by the end, I was in a program in Sambani Ashram, New Hampshire, in 1992, I think, or 93. There were like 1,500 people in these programs. You see, if you get such people, then it's easy to make a big Sangat. Sant Ji by himself, he would have been able to do nothing in the West. But he got the right people, so...
Well, or maybe the right people got him.
Whatever
maybe he wasn't looking for them.
Whichever way you want to put it, but that's how things happen. And in Italy, I did the work for him. In Europe, I began doing this work for him. Then other people joined in. But here also, the first program, when he came here, there were some 100 people. And the last program in Terni, there were some 500 people. That's how a master makes a Sangat. If he finds very good people to help him. I didn't have this. I repeat it again. because it's not in my destiny. Somehow I am a person who can't deal with big number of people. I deal very well with short number of people. What counts is not the number, it's the quality of the work that you do that counts.
So it's not the quantity, but the quality.
Quality of the work, at least, if not of the people.
Well, of the master. And maybe of the Light of Sirio podcast. What to say? I don't know.
Anyway.
So, and I wanted to ask you that I remember you recalling this event of Sant Ji greeting you before coming back to Italy. And then did he say to you to do something for him, or what did you do when you came back to Italy?
Well, actually the thing started, I think I already said it, but I'm not quite sure. When I was in Rajasthan once, I was taking a movie of Sant Ji during satsang, during walks, during darshans. So one day after the morning meditation, we came down the stairs and he said, let's wait here, that he comes down the stairs. So we film him, that would be nice. So me and him stayed down below the stairs, which led to his room. So after some 5-10 minutes, whatever, Ajaib Singh came down from his room together with Papu. And when he reached us, he was very happy that we were waiting for him and taking this movie. So he asked something about Italy, and he told me, I've been in Italy already. During the war, I was there with the British Army. So he said, this summer we are going to have programs in North America and South America. Would you like me to come to Italy? Could you organize a program? Are there satsangis, other satsangis in Italy initiated by Master Kirpal who could be interested in attending a program with me? And I said, yeah, sure, there are other satsangis who will be interested, and if you want, I am ready to organize a program for you. We are ready to organize a program for you. And he said, okay, that can be done. So, but you have to talk with Russel Perkins and see how it can be organized. So, Russel Perkins was there on that occasion. Mm-hmm. No, actually, he was there with the next group. So I met him and I talked with him about this possibility. And he said, okay, we will try to arrange the flight in such a way that he can stop in Rome so you can meet with him and organize a program. And then on an occasion, when I had interview with him, I mentioned to him that I had this desire, this inspiration, inclination, let's call it the way we want, to create a place for him where we could have programs and we could have retreats and satsangis could come there and we could have regular programs, an ashram, kind of an ashram. And he was very happy with the idea and he told me, that's very good for you. That will be the best seva you can do for yourself, for your soul, he said. So go ahead. If you can do it, you have my blessing. Just go ahead with your idea. So that also was the first time I mentioned to him about this inclination of mine, this wish of mine, my idea. And he agreed very much with it and he inspired me to pursue it, to keep going with this and try to make it a fact, a reality. I came back to Italy.
Did he eventually come to Rome?
It was a very interesting happening. I mean, the whole fact, how it manifested, how it happened, it was very interesting. After we came back to Italy, we got a letter from Russel Perkins telling that, sorry, but it's not possible to have a program in Italy because Sant Ji won't stop in Rome on his way back, but he will stop in London. Of course, there were already satsangis in London and they wanted him to stop there. We thought, okay, sorry, we were really sorry because we were very much hoping that if he came to Italy, maybe a good satsang could start on his name. So when we heard that he wouldn't stop in Italy, we were very disappointed somehow. Then, after some time, came another letter from Russel Perkins. And he said, well, we have been trying to change the situation, so it's very possible the Sant Ji will be stopped in Rome. So go ahead with organizing this program.
Oh my.
So I went to Rome, because, of course, I was living in Milan, and it was not the case to have it in Milan, because Sant Ji anyway would stop in Rome. So we thought we find a hotel, something nearby the airport. And we try to have a satsang there, something at least, one day. Something, if not possible, to have anything for a longer period. So we went to a hotel and we booked a hall for holding a program, satsang, whatever could be done. And we stayed in contact with the hotel. Thank God we didn't have to give money. It was just enough to book. Because eventually, after some time, came another letter saying again that, sorry, no, Sant Ji cannot stop in Italy, we'll have to stop in London. So all this brought up hopes and disappointments. August came, and we organized a retreat in the country house of a satsangi near the lake of Como. There was some 15 people, because by and by anyway, I was kind of an appreciated satsangi among the Italian satsangis. So when they came to know that I was following Ajaib Singh, some people began to take that thing in consideration. So they began attending satsang, and by and by we became a group of some 10 people. Then 2 or 3 ladies, I think 3 ladies came from Malta, who were also initiated of Master Kirpal. And a girl came from Slovenia called Irena Basel. She had been in India in 1974 and she had met Master Kirpal. Somebody gave her my address as to whom she could ask information about Ajaib Singh's activities. So she wrote to me, and I invited her to come to attend this retreat. And she came eventually. So she was also there. So we were a group of some 15 people. That retreat was the most amazing experience that could ever happen. I think I never had, up to the point, a retreat as powerful, as magic, as fantastic as that one. Maybe not even when I was in India with Sant Ji. It was that intense, that's so powerful. I was electrified. I was caught in such a magnetic field that everything became like touched by a spell of magic. And there were some specific places where I could sit in meditation and go into such an ecstasy, into such a blissful state. It was just amazing. And all the satsangs we had, all the meditations we had, which were many, many hours every day, starting from 3 o'clock in the morning up to the evening with some interruptions. So it was a very powerful retreat, really. Very amazing.
How long was it? Do you remember?
It was a week. Very, very special. Very unusual, I could say. Interesting. It was like Sant Ji was really there with us, but even much more than that. It was just extraordinary, really. Then we came back home, and there was a telegram from Russel Perkins telling, sorry, but Sant Ji is stopping in Rome eventually.
Oh.
It will be after 2-3 days. So, how possible, my God.
So the efforts during the retreat brought result?
It looks like, yes, very, very much. So after 1 or 2 days, we started off and we went to Rome.
Did he stop to give a program or just...
No. Program no, but you can meet him at the airport.
Ah, wow. Well, then it was quite a long trip from Milan to Rome. I think it's 6 hours, more or less, or more.
It's how many? 700 kilometers from Milan to Rome. So we went to Rome by train. We took a hotel. We slept there, which was near Termini station. And in the morning, 3 o'clock, we got up, we sat in meditation. It was such a blissful meditation, such a easy, blissful, intoxicated meditation. And then I was like in a trance. I went to the bus, stopped, and we took the bus. And I felt in that very similar inner state as I felt when I went from Rishikesh to Dehradun to meet Master Kirpal the very first time.
But this time the Master came to you and not you to him. But I mean, you
Yes.
also traveled from Milan to Rome, but
Both.
he made a longer way.
Both of us were moving in a direction to meet. So we went to the airport, and there was such a magnetic field all over the airport. It was like this master power had taken up the whole airport in such a powerful way. So from time to time I would sit somewhere, close my eyes, and went just straight into the light in such a blissful, ecstatic meditation. But the time came for the flight to land, according to the information we got. But of Ajaib Singh and people traveling with him, we had no clue. We were there at this spot at the airport where we could see on the other side of the customs if people arriving, we could see them. So that's where the place was indicated for meeting them. And I had gone to the police asking, there are some friends of ours coming from India. Could we meet them? Could we go, or either they come from the custom, from on this side of the custom, or we go on the other side? I said, no, it's okay. If they come, you just tell me when they arrive, and we will let them pass through, and so you can meet them. So we were waiting and waiting, but nobody came.
But the flight landed?
Well, it was announced that it was landed.
It was announced.
Yes, it was announced, but we couldn't see any Sant Ji, we couldn't see any Papu or other people traveling with him. So eventually, after half an hour or so of looking and waiting, we went up to the Air India office at the airport, and we asked, could we know if Mr. Ajaib Singh, Rajkumar Baga and Gurdev Singh, they were on this flight, which just landed from the Air India coming from the United States. And they checked and they said, yes, they were on this flight. So just in that moment, a satsangi came to me and said, oh, I've seen Sant Ji on the other side of the custom. So we ran there, and I was so emotional when I saw him. I started weeping, and he just made a sign with his hand, like, smooth down, just be quiet, just be quiet. So we went again to the police, and we said, look, now these people, these friends of ours, we saw them on the other side. He said, okay. Just he called for a policeman. He said, take this boy on the other side, let him meet with his friends, and let them come on this side, and you be with them. So we went on the other side, and I just find myself face to face with Sant Ji. And he asked me, how are you? I said, oh, very upturned. That's how I am. So he followed us, and then we went to a corner, to a spot. And Sant Ji was like against the wall, and we were all in front of him. We were maybe 15 people. There were some people from Rome who had come, because we had tried to inform all the satsangis of Master Kirpal about his presence in Rome, that if they wanted, they could come to meet him. There was somebody, he was from South Italy, but he was living in Rome, so he also came. And there was a boy from Austria, Albert Zenin, who had been in India, and he had met Sant Ji, so he also came to meet him. So Sant Ji stood there, and he asked me, who is initiated by Master Kirpal here? So I tried to show them to him, Some people were not initiated by anybody. Then he said something like, you should very much treasure the fact of being disciples of such a great master, and you should honor his name by doing your meditation regularly and try to go within and meet him inside of yourself, because master is always there for his initiates. Master is gone nowhere. For those who are initiated by him, he is always present in their life. So if you go within yourself in deep meditation, you can meet him. And then he stopped talking and he began looking at each of us. I was just right in front of him. I was translating what he was saying. So at some point he looked at me, and again I felt that kind of soft, deep, powerful energy going inside of me as it happened when I was in Rajasthan. It was just the same quality, the same intensity, the same powerful something that entered inside of me, and then again it exploded and I felt like being blown out of myself. So then Sant Ji said, okay, I think this is enough. So I go back on the other side.
But how long did it last?
15 minutes maybe.
Yeah, because it doesn't sound very long.
No, just 15, 20 minutes. But it was such a powerful something. He went back on the other side and we began moving. There was a lady, she said we could go in the chapel here and sit in meditation. So we went. There was a small church there in the airport. We went inside the church and we sat in meditation. It was like being up into the clouds, really, out of this world. So powerful. And then somebody said we could take a walk and go in a nice garden. Somebody was living in Rome, and maybe have some meditation there together. So we took a long walk through Rome. Eventually, in the late afternoon, we reached this park. The sun was setting. We sat in meditation there again, and it was such a blissful something. The next day we took the train. And we went back to Milan. So this thing.
This was the first visit of Sant Ji in Italy as a master.
Yes, there was the first visit and the very first, very powerful something happening in Italy with him, which was for few people, it was a short something, but a very special, powerful something. Maybe one of the most extraordinary meetings I've had with him.
Well, it sounds very special because it was also short. Well, it was so extraordinary, not common.
Very uncommon in all possible ways.
You go from Milan, you take a long. If you went by train, then it lasts even much more. From Milan to Rome, it's a long way to go. It's an all day almost.
Well, you see, all these yes and no, yes and it's coming, it's not coming, it's coming, it's not coming. All of this built up in me, at least in me, I know. It built up such a longing, such an intensity of longing for meeting him that when I eventually met him, it was, it couldn't be but just something extraordinary.
Well, yes, also because waiting, then one is hoping, then it's happy, oh, he's coming, and then you were trying to arrange something, but then he's not coming, so disappointment, then he's coming, then a new hope again, and it's like as the cat plays with the mouse, no? So then eventually he came. And
so that's a very beautiful story, which I think by which we can end this podcast for this time, and then we continue with the 1978 trip to India, which was also another very
a new adventure again.
Yes, a very special something which I was, after this darshan which I had in Rome, I thought, my God, if I meet him again and I have again something like this, it will be too much for me. So I was hoping that next time it won't happen like this powerful, this very strong. But As soon as I found myself I will tell next time, but as soon as I found myself in front of him next time in 1978 in Rajasthan, just the same thing happened again.
Yeah, but also somehow this meeting him in Rome is like the ripe fruit of something, so many things happening in your life, so many things getting together, that you setting on a spiritual quest when you were 19 years old, finding Master Kirpal, be initiated with him, have this upliftment, intense 2 years meditation, but losing Master Kirpal, and then finding Ajaib Singh finally, and going through all these things, but also going to see Doctor Singh before, and all these ups and downs, and as you said once that somehow things had to go good, that you had to be rewarded by God because you were very honest in your quest. And somehow to me this meeting at the airport is like the result of all these lots of turmoils and troubles which you went through just to realize something spiritually. Very beautiful, really very captivating, this story, though I have heard this story several times, but again it's always like new, and listening to you with an open mouth, and so it's always new and very charming and so exciting. Really, like one is just standing there and waiting for Sant Ji, where will he come out. It's very cathartic. So it's nice. So many happy ends in this new season of the Light of Sirio podcast. And so to conclude this episode, we can listen this song mentioned before that was revealed to Doctor Molina. A man has been born, Ajaib. So let's feel this ecstasy and the greatness of Ajaib in the simplicity of this song. So thank you, dear Master, and next episode, as always,
welcome,
comes after 2 weeks, and please don't miss to subscribe to this podcast, and all your comments are most welcome. So thank you very much.
Ha nacido un hombre, ha nacido un hombre, ha nacido un hombre, Amen has been born.